Right. Today we'll be talking about the UK TCA. This is just one of some videos I will be making about it so that we can clear up a bit of all the hogwash that is floating around the airways about this, both in the UK and also with some YouTubers right here in the continent. Now, this is available in the site of the European Commission, so it's free. You can come here, you can read it. It also has the full text here. It gives this part that I'll be just viewing today. It talks about the summary that is in the site. Excuse me. I have a bit of a sore throat. Now, this says here, what does the TCA means to the EU? Protecting the European Union's interests, ensuring fair competition, and continuing cooperation in areas of mutual interest. It speaks here that the TCA sets out, this is kind of a resume, preferential arrangements in areas such as trade in goods and in services, digital trade, intellectual property, public procurement, aviation and road transport, etc., etc., etc. Okay, you can pause the video and read this. Here it states that, of course, this does not match the level of economic integration that existed while the UK was an EU member state. The TCA goes beyond traditional free trade agreements and blah blah. What does all of this mean? This means this is more than simple WTO rules, World Trade Organization. Okay, this means that it allows for both parties to have a deeper economical, social, and political relationship in order to maintain a certain degree of connection between the parties. But of course, it's not the same as being a member of the EU, nor can it be. This is when the TCA was signed, when it was applied provisionally, and when it entered into force, the 1st of May of 2021. Here you will find the full text, and you can choose 23 languages if you can't understand English. This is what the TCA consists of: a free trade agreement, close partnership on citizen security, and overarching governance framework. This is what is not in the TCA by omission, because it was not agreed upon. So it's foreign policy, external security, defense cooperation. And why? Because the UK did not want to negotiate this matter. Remember this when you talk about it. It was the UK that chose not to negotiate this, not the EU. So, since the January in 2021, so meaning when it was provisionally applied, this means to allow parties to get used to it. In simple words, there is no framework in place between the UK and the EU to develop and coordinate joint responses to foreign policy challenges, like the Dwarf King invasion of Ukraine and imposition of sanctions on third country nationals or republics. This was really, in my opinion, what Putin wanted when he financed allegedly some key figures inside of the UK. This, of course, is allegedly, in my personal opinion. So take it with a grain of salt. Also, the TCA does not cover any decisions relating to equivalences. You understand what this word means? Means I recognize mine if you I recognize yours if you recognize mine. So equivalences in all of these areas for financial services, for the way the UK protects data, and because the EU cannot see it, it has to do it in the assessment of the UK sanitary and phytosanitary regime for the purpose of listing it as a country allowed to export food products to the EU. All of this means that all of this could have been negotiated, but the UK did not want it, so the EU has to access the sanitary and phytosanitary, so the UK can export food products to the EU. So farmers, when you start to complain about it, this was signed, and it was not adapted. It was not provisions could have been found to resolve this. A simple thing like, for example, the UK will maintain the same level of quality and of regulations as the EU, and annually it has to, I don't know, I'm just explaining how things could have done, like the experts also did. They said it would be as simple as the UK to maintain the same exact level and regulations on food security as the EU. In the financial services, I believe it's impossible. It had to be extirped, because you cannot allow the UK to have control over an essential part of the EU. But as when it comes to food, it would be simple to find a way to do this. But the UK did not want to negotiate it. Hence, this phrase. Indeed, these are unilateral decisions of the EU and are not subjected to negotiation. Meaning the EU clearly said, look, we are not going to negotiate this. It's either as we are proposing it can be done, or none. So, my friend, this is what happens. Now, the free trade agreement, and then here it outlines the main objectives of the free trade agreement, the part of the TCA of the free trade agreement. Because as you know, the TCA is more than the free trade agreement, has stated up here. Okay. It speaks of the broad range of other areas in use. Remember, you are in the Commission site, so the Commission is addressing the new citizens. Okay. When you read this, you must keep that in mind. Okay. Now, it talks about the part of the zero tariffs and zero quotas in all goods that comply with the appropriate rules of origin. This is very important. Rules of origin, meaning that are under the rules of the single market, that the UK did not want to negotiate this part, because the negotiation would mean to obey the single market rules. But the UK does not want it, does not get it. Okay? And this is why all of the paperwork comes from here. You would have always some paperwork, but not the Byzantine levels you have right now. Now, this is the part where both parties compromise themselves in the climate aspect of things, of social rights, tax transparency. How much does the state aid the producers? Just it's a binding settlement mechanism for both parties to take remedial measures. So, if, for example, like the EU is now doing to Chinese cars, it's applying tariffs to Chinese cars because the state is basically financing their economy to destroy other countries' economy in that area. So the EU takes these measures. This is about the same thing where both the UK and the EU can do it. This is the part about the joint management of fish stocks. And as you can see, fishermen, they like, because the access maintains itself, just like the UK can also negotiate the access to the EU fisheries. Okay, but it's here. The UK will be able to develop British fishing activities, while the activities and livelihoods of European fishing communities will be safeguarded and natural resources preserved, which is also important. This is the part about the transport deal agreements, and Mike Hitchie has arrived. Hello, darling. Don't worry, I speak with her in German too, so she understands me. Now, this is basically to keep that level playing field on the transport of people in and out from both parts, from the UK into the EU and the EU into the UK. So this is why, for example, a UK passenger traveling inside of the EU will have their rights protected. Not at the same level as a EU citizen, but they will be protected. Okay? Vice versa, not too sure. At least from the stories I heard, but they are just stories, so I will keep them as such. Because, as you can see here, though market access falls below what the single market offers, so this has nothing to do with the transportation of products. Okay, but it has provisions to ensure that the competition is fair. This is a part about energy. Okay, and it's basically to say, look, we are going to continue to buy and sell energy from each other, cooperating, whatever is needed, to make sure that there is not a lack of energy, especially in the UK. Alright? But it's very basically, and I think this is very clear. No need to explain it further, I think. This is the part of social security coordination in order to keep the rights of the EU citizens and the UK nationals.